Hi traders, welcome to this week's market update for the 23rd of August 2020. So starting off with the Australian US dollar, we're at a peak high area and last week's close was lower. So we're just waiting on price to retrace towards this red sell zone or to create a fresh red sell zone at the start of next week in order to start looking for sells again. That's on the 4 hour, but for now it's disabled. Moving down to a 30-minute time frame, Friday's close was lower. So again, just needing a retrace to a red, to create a fresh red sell zone, or all the way back up to test the peak, and then we'll be looking to activate for sells. So for now, disabled on the Australian US dollar, both time frames. On the Euro US dollar, we're at a peak high. Last week's close was lower. So same story really, waiting on a retrace to retest for the high or create a red sell zone to give us the green light to start looking for sells on the 4 hour. So for now it's disabled. And on the 30-minute time frame, Friday's close was lower. We've got this little red sell zone at the peak, so we're waiting for a retrace towards that point, and then we'll be able to start looking for sells on the 30-minute. So disabled on the Euro US dollar, both time frames. Euro Great British Pound, last week closed lower. And we haven't got any red sell zone in place at the moment, so just waiting again for a fresh red sell zone in order to start looking for sells on the Euro Great British Pound 4 hour. I've just zoomed out there so we can see it is a peak high. So we're just waiting for a fresh red sell zone. Going down to a 30-minute time frame, Friday's close was higher. We're nestled at a little red sell zone here. So actually, the only thing holding us back from looking at sells is the fact that on the 30-minute time frame, the peak is low. So actually, we need to wait for a retrace, a blue buy zone, and then we'll be looking at short-term buys on the 30-minute. So disabled on the Euro Great British Pound, both time frames. Great British Pound US dollar on the 4 hour time frame, we've got a peak high area. We've got a flat weekly close, neither higher nor lower. If I just zoom in a bit, literally is flat. It's quite possible that this peak will get broken simply because if we look back to the beginning of the year, we've tested the peak, but we haven't broken it. And we do normally expect price to spike through, to move through. So there is a chance of a higher move on this pair. And because of a flat weekly close, it's not a lower weekly close like we had on the Euro US dollar or the Australian US dollar. So I'll be cautious on the Great British Pound US dollar this week, and there'll be no trades on the 4 hour time frame. On the 30-minute time frame, we had a Friday close lower. Peak is high, clearly on the 30-minute. So if we get a retrace to the peak, or if we get a red sell zone, we will be able to consider some short-term sells during the week. But again, just airing a bit of caution because of the 4 hour analysis. However, we did well on this pair last week. We did get 3 trades, 20 pips, 50 pips, and 90 pips in these moves down. So let's see what this week brings, but disabled for now. US dollar Swiss franc, we're at a peak low on the 4 hour chart, and last week's close was higher. So just waiting for a retrace down to retest the peak or a fresh blue buy zone in order to start looking for buys. On the 30-minute chart, again, peak low. We had Friday close higher, so just waiting for the retrace towards the blue buy zone in order to start looking for buys on the 30 minutes. But disabled again on both time frames for now. US dollar, Japanese yen. So the peak was low. We do have a significant almost peak, so we call that an intermediate high on the 4 hour. Last week closed lower, so we need a retrace to a fresh red sell zone or to retest this higher red sell zone in order to start looking for sells on the 4 hour chart. I think there is a bit more down move to come. We may even get as far as testing down towards the previous peak low, but there's definitely a retrace needed first in order for us to start looking at sells on the 4 hour. On the 30-minute time frame, the peak is low still. We had this intermediate high, but it didn't reach a peak. Friday has closed higher, so I'd be expecting some follow through start of next week. And actually, with this peak low and Friday's close higher, if we get a fresh blue buy zone, then it'll be a valid short-term 30-minute setup. So to start the week, really, it's eyes on the US dollar, Japanese yen for me. This would be my pick, a 30-minute trade higher. And during the week, we should see some opportunities develop on the euro, US dollar, and the Australian US dollar. So updates, as usual, in the channel.